Today we're going to introduce Nessie to a prong collar. This is going to help with a lot of focus and a lot of pulling on the walks. So she's never been on one before, so we're going to start it nice and slow in the house with low distractions before we take it outside. One of the biggest misconceptions about prong collars is that you're going to puncture your dog. That's not how they're designed to work. They're designed to put pressure evenly around the dog's neck, that when they pull, it comes from all of those points. When your dog wears a regular collar and they pull on it, it just puts pressure right at the front and dogs will just pull through that. It's not a strong enough correction. So prong collars spread that out all around. So you're using little pops like this to communicate, and you're not pulling the dog off their feet by putting constant pressure on that. So when it comes to sizing your dog, there's two sizes that I mostly work with, and that's a 3mm, which is this one here, and that refers to the size of the prongs. And then there's a 2.25, and that's the one Nessie has on. So usually any dogs below 50 pounds are going to have the 2.25, and once you get above 50, you're going to move up to the 3. I don't ever go bigger than a 3, and if your dog does have a bigger neck than this, you just buy extra prongs, and you can keep making the collar bigger and bigger. If you have a tiny, tiny little dog, they also make a micro prong, and I believe these are 1.75mm, and that's for your really small dogs. Good girl. So getting the prong on and off, there's a bit of a technique to it, but once you have it, it's super easy. And it's not about strength. You're not trying to force these apart. I like to put my thumb on this part right here, and I kind of push down and pull up. It can come apart from any of the links. To get it back together, I start this side and then use my thumb to push the other side in. You can also take it apart from that center plate there. Same thing with the 2.25. Come apart at any of those prongs, you're giving it a little squeeze and guiding it in like that. So to fit a prong collar, you're going to make sure it's not twisted when you're putting it on the dog. There's two different rings on here. So for a backup, I like to use a carabiner, and that goes on the ring. And then your leash is going to go to the end that swivels. So that part that turns, that's where your leash is going to go in the end. So again, it's going to fit up nice and high, so right behind the ears. And that's where they should be wearing it, not down low. It should be up higher. You can use a lot less pressure this way. Good girl. And we can clip our leash on. Another good thing to kind of watch out for, good girl, to make sure you're not tangled. So you should be seeing this kind of opening right here. Good girl. Leash goes on the swivel. Good, and we're going to make sure that the leash is above the carabiner and that they're not switched the other way around, because this is going to keep going to the collar. So we're going to put her flat buckle collar on now. Girl. And then as a backup, we're going to hook that carabiner onto her collar. So now the two collars are attached right there. So if for some reason the prong let go or it wasn't put on properly, you still have a connection on the dog. Good. Girl. So prong collar being on the dog, it's not a correction, it's not a punishment, it's just a collar. Sometimes when it goes on, they'll give a bit of a scratch to it, they might shake their head. It sits up really high, right behind the ears, so sometimes it's just a different feeling for the dog. Then that next step we're going to do is we're going to back up that prong collar down here to our regular collar. I'll show you how to do that at a different point. Here, Ness, come on. Good girl. So now we have it on, we got a good fit. It's up nice and tight behind our ears. We're going to switch our leash over to the prong collar. Girl. And then we're going to start our prong dance. So what I want to do, I want Nessie to get to the end of the leash. That prong's going to engage with a little bit of pressure. As soon as she turns around and looks at me, I'm going to mark that moment with good. I want to teach her to turn the pressure off on the collar. So a little bit of pressure. Good. Good girl. Break. Good. Break. Good. So I'm not yanking it, I'm not pulling her off her feet. I just want her to get to the end. A little bit of engagement. Good. As soon as she gives into that pressure, I want to mark that moment with good. Good girl. Break. Good. That time the collar didn't engage. That's not a bad thing. Good girl. She's starting to pay attention to where I am. Good girl. Break. Good girl. Sometimes if your dog won't go away, you can start using a bit of food just to get them a bit farther away from you. Yes. Good girl. Break. So I'm going to let her get that food. Good girl. Good. Good. Sit. Good. So that's what I want. I want that engagement. I want her to follow me and follow me wherever I go. So again, a little bit of pressure. Good. It's pretty gentle, pretty subtle. She gets to the end of that leash. She feels the collar engage, looks right back at me. I mark that with good, and then I reward her for coming back. Good girl. Break. Break. I hit the grass. Good. Good girl. So this first stage is all a dance. Let's go. Good girl. Sit. Good. Let's go. Good. Good. A couple different things can happen when you first introduce your dog to a prong collar. Some of them will have a full meltdown. They'll roll across the ground, they'll make noises. This is not from pain. This is an objection. This is the kid in the candy store that you're saying no to. If your dog is a practice puller and they pull all the time, all of a sudden there's something here with really good timing. There's something that's going to give a correction and stop them from pulling you. And some dogs don't take that correction well. You work through it. It goes away pretty quickly. You just have to remember the collar is not causing the dog pain. They're simply objecting to not being allowed to do what they've been allowed to do for months. Not puppy. Yes. The other thing that happens, some dogs just freeze up and they won't move. Again, work through this. That low distraction environment will help with that. Have a pocket full of some food or some treats to help get your dog motivated. And nice and gentle on that leash. You're not popping them and pulling them across the room. Just a little bit of pressure. Good. Your voice stays nice, calm, and neutral, and just work them through those hard moments. This doesn't happen in most dogs, but I have seen it happen. So now that Nessie's introduced to the collar, we're gonna go for a little walk. Again, we're gonna stay inside. We're just gonna use the hallway, and we're gonna shorten up our leash, add some structure, and she already knows sit really well, so we're gonna add in the sit on our walk. Now, puppy. Girl. Sit. Good. A little bit of pressure up on the sit. As soon as she sits, pressure goes away, and I'm marking with good. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Good girl. Sit. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. Right. So every time I stop, I'm asking her to sit. I want this to translate real world. When we're outside, if I stop to cross a road, if I stop at the end of my driveway, if I stop to get the mail or to pick something up or stop to talk to a person, I want her sits to be automatic. That if I'm not moving, you're not moving. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. I'm also using the term let's go on this walk. Sit. Good. I don't want to use the word heel yet. Heel I teach to mean at my side, at my pace. And that's eventually where I want Nessie to be. Sit. Good. But right now, I just want her moving with me. So let's go is a much less formal term. Sit. Good. Just to help her with that movement and that cue of I'm going to turn, I need you to move with me, don't be distracted by the fly. So I use let's go to keep moving. Let's go. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. Let's go. Sit. Good. So outside we're starting in the driveway. Pavement's going to hold a lot less smell than snow or grass. So it's a great place to start when you get outside. And just the driveway, back and forth. Get your dog used to one environment before you move them to a road with passing cars, other distractions, and dogs. Sit. Good girl. So make it easy for yourself and your dog. So we're just going to do a couple passes of the driveway. You're going to see a lot less focus now that we're outside. So now when we're walking, if she gets out of that position, sit. Good. You're going to see some little pops on that collar. Again, we're not whipping the dog off their feet. We're just giving them some communication of, I need you to slow down, don't